she suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human. Meghan Markle, people have been wondering what it is that she's going to do, because when she first did her Spotify series, and I think that deal was $25 million, Spotify lived to regret it immediately. It was breathy. It was awful.
I think she's a malignant narcissist who is a truly terrible person.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Candace Owens just went off on Meghan Markle, and the internet cannot stop talking about it.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
And there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen to live.
I appreciate what hard work looks like. I like working hard.
Well, according to their tax documents, they work 1 hour a week.
Meghan once again tried to convince the world that she was finally showing her real side. But seriously, who's buying that anymore? Instead of looking raw and honest, critics like Candace called the whole thing exactly what it looked like: a carefully staged performance dressed up as authenticity. She said Meghan wasn't sharing her soul. She was putting on a show, complete with fake tears and dramatic pauses meant to make the world feel sorry for her. And yes, Owens didn't hesitate to remind everyone Meghan feeds off attention, and no amount of Netflix millions or top-tier PR spin doctors can hide that craving.
After taking a break, I guess, Meghan Markle is back, and she has released a new Netflix trailer. Now, just to give you the background of this, if you're wondering why she's doing this, it's because she kind of sold her soul to the devil. Obviously, she's always wanted to be an A-list actress. She never wanted to be a princess. I called that from the very beginning. She wanted to be amongst the A-list because that was her life goal.
And I love being that busy.
Make it end. Make it end. What is this?
The drama kicked off after Meghan's much-hyped sit-down on Jamie Kern-Lima's podcast. The marketing pitch? This was supposed to be the real Meghan. No makeup, no script, just raw vulnerability. But that glossy picture shattered almost instantly. Viewers flooded social media, ripping into her tears and calling them staged. Fake emotions, fake struggle. Every sniffle and dramatic pause looked like it was pulled straight from a Hollywood script written to grab sympathy points.
You're never going to convince anyone that you're authentic.
You're right. You're right.
Reality is she's a grifter. Fake it till you make it.
The Brits are onto you. America's onto you. The world at large is onto you.
I'm searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard.
It's too much for me. There's only small doses of that podcast I can consume. Meghan, how are you?
How are you?
I know you always make it about me.
And then came Candace Owens' knockout punch. She didn't tiptoe around it. She asked the question that's been hanging in the air for years. Is Meghan Markle ever real at all? Or is every word she utters, every pose she strikes, just another manufactured performance polished to perfection? That now infamous podcast was supposed to be Meghan's breakthrough moment. Stripped down, no makeup, no safety net. But according to Candace and thousands online, all it did was prove that even when Meghan tries to be raw, she can't help but look rehearsed. We were promised the real Meghan, not some glossy PR act polished within an inch of its life. But from the very start, Candace Owens and countless others saw right through it. Candace didn't sugarcoat a thing. She flat out said this wasn't honesty or bravery, it was performance art. A staged, calculated moment designed to look raw on the surface, but fake all the way through underneath. And the sad part? She might have thought people would actually buy it.
Everything they do seems so manipulative, calculated, PR motivated, money motivated.
You know, she wasn't a very good actress, and so she figured out how to maneuver that by marrying a prince who, the only way to say it is he's just not as intelligent as her. He's not reading it, and he has been subjected to her manipulation. And I do also want to say this because it's really important of why their story became so big, and her using the Black Lives Matter movement, which was very big at that time before people started to understand.
But here's the kicker. Netflix already sunk money into 2 full seasons of With Love, Meghan. Despite endless eye-roll reviews, scathing backlash, and audiences checking out halfway through, the streaming giant still decided to release season 2. Seriously. Somewhere, a cancellation angel just got knocked out cold because this disaster is somehow being renewed.
So ignorant. It's just the height of ignorance to me to have this D-list actress that nobody knew go over there. Her race is not discernible by the eye. If she walked in, you would never say Meghan Markle is a black woman.
I thought your analysis of this book was spot on. You've called Harry despicable, for trying to trash the royal family's reputation and dragging them below even what the Kardashians would get up to.
And for her, Harry was just an entry ticket into all of those circles. Unfortunately, she found someone. She's not very intelligent. She's not very talented. Nobody in America was watching Suits. She was an actress that was living in Canada. And fortunately for her, and credit to her, she found someone that is dumber than her. And that's the truth.
Fans are now questioning whether Netflix has completely lost its mind, or if they're just too deep in the hole to admit Meghan's so-called big project is a colossal flop. Let's not sugarcoat this. With Love, Meghan wasn't just a flop. It was a total crash and burn disaster. This was supposed to be her big Hollywood redemption arc, her moment to clap back at the critics and silence the haters. Instead, viewers tore it apart for being fake, forced, and downright unbearable to watch. Remember when Spotify's execs casually branded her a grifter?
As her son, who, if you've seen a picture of, and you think that he has faced anti-Black racism in his life, then I'm a Nigerian prince, and I have, an account that you can send some money into.
That was brutal. But this is Meghan Markle's Hollywood collapse happening in real time, episode by episode, with Netflix footing the bill for the wreckage.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that one. This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on.
Also is pretending like she's crying. Like we zoomed in just to see there isn't a tear in sight. Look at this. Where's the tear?
Able to just be a human. I've never seen this sort of. I've never seen someone that struggles to just give us like one strip of authenticity.
And just when it looked like Meghan's brand couldn't get any messier, her so-called DIY bath salt recipe featured on Netflix blew up into a full-blown legal nightmare.
This is a joke, and I'm tired of some of these media outlets continuing to elevate this person.
A woman in Maryland, Robin Patrick, is now threatening to drag Meghan, Netflix, and Archewell into court for a jaw-dropping $10 million. Robin claims the fancy blend left her with severe burns and ulcers. And because she's diabetic, she says the ingredients like arnica and Himalayan salt made everything far worse.
I don't think it has a chance of surviving. I think if there's any justice, it's going to, just sink quickly, and the Netflix will move on to the next best thing. Meghan Markle, to the TV industry, it's lowering the values, it's lowering the brand of Netflix, and it's wasting all of our time.
Imagine thinking you're getting a wellness glow-up and ending up calling a lawyer instead. The backlash was immediate. What started as Candace Owens torching Meghan's fake vulnerability turned into a chorus of critics piling on. People said they didn't see raw honesty in Meghan's projects. They saw another scripted act. Even her so-called no-makeup look felt phony, like just another costume change designed to look natural, but secretly rehearsed.
The woman who destroyed her in-laws' family, whose own family doesn't like her, whose the in-laws obviously don't like her, the public doesn't like her, she seems to be one of the more vindictive, sort of nasty figures in public life. What's the title of her show? Love Meghan. For what? To watch? Who wants to watch Meghan Markle bake a pie?
That's why a lot of these celebrities that start these things, they can't keep up. Like the Meghan Markles.
But you're the same.
You're the same.
Like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I knew her a bit before she met Harry. She was nothing like that. She didn't speak like that. Her mannerisms weren't like that. This is all fake.
Viewers weren't buying the authentic brand she was pushing, and Candace made it crystal clear. Meghan doesn't know how to connect like a real person.
Enough for Bill Simmons over at the Ringer podcast, which was acquired by Spotify, to call Harry and Meghan, quote, a fucking grifter on his latest podcast. Here's what he had to say.
I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them.
According to Candace, this isn't just about one podcast or one Netflix recipe disaster. It's about Meghan's entire vibe.
Meghan's podcast has fallen off the charts. She's been criticized for the content. There are rumors that her As Ever launch wasn't as successful as she considered it. Critically, With Love, Meghan was not a success.
Everything comes across as manufactured, like she's constantly auditioning for a role that doesn't exist. And the truth is, people have felt this way for years. As journalist Maureen Callahan once put it, brutally honest and straight to the point, Meghan Markle doesn't feel real. She feels like a performance that never ends.
She had the hair blown out. It was perfect. I do not believe that she was makeup-free there. She didn't have eye makeup on, which is a different thing.
The podcast was hyped as Meghan Markle's big turning point, the moment she'd finally drop the act and show the world something raw. something real. But for Candace Owens and countless others watching, it proved the exact opposite.
She suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human. Do you know what I mean?
Meghan read a letter to her kids, her voice trembling, a single tear conveniently wiped away for the cameras. And yet, the whole thing looked way too perfect, like it had been rehearsed a dozen times.
You will never convince America. The Brits are onto you, America's onto you, the world at large is onto you. You're never going to convince anyone that you're authentic.
Even her comment about how nice it felt not to wear makeup in moments like that backfired. Instead of seeming authentic, critics said it sounded like pure Hollywood scripting. And let's be real, when your vulnerable moment feels like a trailer for your own life, the audience isn't going to buy it. Candace Owens wasn't fooled for a second.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that one. This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on.
To her, and to plenty of viewers online, this wasn't a tender glimpse of a loving mom. It was a staged performance designed to soften Meghan's image. The shaky voice, the misty eyes, the perfectly timed tear, the no makeup brag. It all screamed choreography, not authenticity. Social media exploded with accusations of fake crying and sympathy baiting.
How to be a mother? Oh, I know, you go crying about how much you love your kids.
One commenter summed it up perfectly. It's Meghan's go-to trick. Act like a victim when the spotlight gets too hot. And here's the kicker. This isn't the first time Meghan's emotions have been put under the microscope.
She simultaneously plays the victim. My castle's too small. The queen is mean to me. They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore.
Critics say it's a pattern. Whenever her image takes a hit, she plays the victim card, even while living in million-dollar mansions and flying private jets. Megyn Kelly joined the firestorm too, ripping into Meghan by saying these emotional displays aren't random at all. They're a calculated tactic, a carefully planned strategy to manipulate how the public sees her. Meghan might have thought those teary podcast moments would finally make her look raw and relatable.
She is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself.
But for Candace Owens and plenty of others, they had the opposite effect. To them, it wasn't honesty, it was just another performance. More proof that Meghan isn't a woman speaking from the heart, she's an actress who never stops playing a role. One of Candace's sharpest talking points is Meghan's constant, and in her view desperate, attempt to brand herself as just like everyone else.
I mean, this is all a stage. You know, this is all just Meghan Markle's stage. We're expected to buy it.
Every move feels so calculated. From her emotional pauses to her no makeup lines. It's all meant to scream, see? I'm normal. But instead of bringing her closer to the public, it backfires, making her look even more out of touch. Candace says the problem runs deeper than bad PR. Meghan's entire regular girl to princess story just doesn't add up for a lot of people.
You don't like her, it's not your fault. It's because she's extremely unlikable, okay? She has the non-it factor.
Meghan pushes this fairy tale about going from everyday life to royalty overnight. But the leap feels so unbelievable, it only fuels suspicion that she's hiding who she really is. And Candace doesn't stop there. She even drags Meghan's acting career into the conversation, pointing out that it never truly took off because Meghan has always struggled with one thing: authenticity. According to Candace, that inability to feel real is exactly why people don't buy her now, no matter how many tears she sheds or stories she spins. Lauren Callahan echoes the same brutal truth.
He wants us to believe that she went from being a D-list actress to becoming Martha Stewart in 3 years. Like, this is totally authentic.
Meghan Markle craves love and relatability almost to the point of obsession. But no matter how many times she tries to sell that image, it just doesn't land. People don't feel it. Instead, her attempts to tug at heartstrings come across like rehearsed lines in a role she never stops playing. Callahan even connects Meghan's current struggle with the earliest days of her career. The warning signs were always there. The same disconnect, the same push to be seen as likable. Yet, something about it never fully clicked.
I think I understand why it is she was a D-list actress, because she can't even act like herself.
Back then, she was just an actress on a basic cable show. Now, she's upgraded her script, trying to juggle princess, activist, lifestyle guru, and brand builder all at once. But instead of inspiring people, it often feels like one long PR stunt. Even the little things meant to make her look normal, the casual outfits, the so-called no makeup podcast, the teary mom moments, feel forced, like props in a carefully managed performance. It's a bizarre mashup. Actress turned princess turned influencer, with no real center holding it together.
She's stuck because she was an actress who became a real princess, who wants to be an actress again, but has to continue to pretend to be a real princess.
Commentator Michael Knowles summed it up perfectly. Meghan's public image is all over the place. A messy mix of roles stitched together with no genuine emotion behind them. That's why critics like Candace Owens insist Meghan isn't just unrelatable.
The one thing she is dying to sell to us is relatability, and she can't get it across the finish line.
She's actively trying to fool everyone. And here's the kicker, the whole superwoman image Meghan sells, the globe-trotting entrepreneur, the wife, the mom, the humanitarian. That's the exact brand Candace loves to tear apart.
This is why she was never going to be more than like a D-list actress on a basic cable show.
Meghan loves to paint a picture of her life as a nonstop grind. Packed days full of launching products, writing newsletters, planning social media, editing Netflix content, and still somehow being the perfect mom, wife, and friend. On the surface, it sounds impressive, almost superhuman, but for Candace Owens and plenty of critics, it's just too polished to be believable. The reality?
Here she just talks about just what a incredible work ethic she has.
Writing the newsletters and writing the social media captions. What's the photography that we want to do? What do I want to wear for those shoots? And being a mom and a wife and a friend.
Work ethic must just be grueling. Writing social media captions, deciding what she's going to wear, being a mom.
When you're living in multi-million-dollar mansions with staff, chefs, nannies, and assistants most people could never dream of, crying about being busy doesn't exactly sound like a struggle. As Candace points out, writing Instagram captions or editing a podcast from your estate isn't the same as juggling 2 jobs and bills like everyday people do.
One of the most privileged people on the planet, she still won't talk about how hardworking she is, which includes coming up with Instagram captions.
That gap between Meghan's words and Meghan's world keeps popping up, and for many, it's the reason she feels so painfully out of touch. Nothing exposed that disconnect more than Meghan's infamous claim that she was in the trenches as a working royal. The audacity of calling palace life a battlefield shocked even her supporters. Critics couldn't believe she actually said it, knowing full well she was living inside literal castles while making the remark.
Never hear other real leaders talking about how hard they work. You just see it in their actions. But for Meghan Markle, of course, she's the exception.
And then came another bombshell. Reports tied to alleged tax filings from their Archewell Foundation suggest Meghan and Harry may have only logged about 1 hour a week of actual work during certain periods. That revelation lit up the internet with questions about how hands-on they really are, or if their empire is more smoke and mirrors than sweat and hustle. Even if the finer details of those tax reports are still up for debate.
She said she was in the trenches when she was in the British royal family. Girl, you lived in a castle. Like, you got a princess title.
One thing is clear. They do Meghan Markle's hard-working woman image no favors. For critics like Candace Owens, the numbers only prove what she's been saying all along. Meghan's idea of hard work looks nothing like what real people go through. Instead of inspiring, her constant complaints come off as tone-deaf, privileged, and painfully fake.
Well, according to their tax documents, they work 1 hour a week.
But this isn't just about personality quirks or effort levels. Candace and other critics point to a whole string of what they call Meghan's flops and shady business plays. Talking big is easy, but actually delivering, that's where Meghan keeps falling flat. Take her highly publicized Spotify deal, reportedly worth $20 million.
She first did her Spotify series, and I think that deal was $25 million. Spotify lived to regret it immediately.
It was supposed to bring a wave of groundbreaking, inspiring podcasts. Instead, the world got a single main series that critics shredded. Candace Owens called it shallow, scripted, and completely forgettable. She wasn't alone either. Audiences blasted it as self-indulgent, overhyped, and worst of all, boring.
It was breathy. It was awful. I listened to one episode. It was just scripted nonsense. It was like, what are you doing?
In the end, the multi-million-dollar deal didn't explode in drama. It just fizzled out quietly, leaving behind disappointment and memes. And then came her Netflix lifestyle show, filled with cooking demos and hosting tips.
Spotify, I think, ended up canceling the rest of their deal. There was no use. There was no money in it.
The reason it's failing is because it was just a horribly dull show.
Far from charming, it got roasted by critics who dismissed it as one long ego trip. Reviewers slammed it as out of touch. Audience scores tanked fast, and viewers tuned out in droves. What was billed as her big splash into lifestyle branding turned into yet another expensive flop.
She is shameless and she is exhausting. You are not a successful female entrepreneur.
This repeating pattern of hype, backlash, and collapse has led commentators like Kinsey Schofield to ask the blunt question, is Meghan Markle really a savvy businesswoman, or is her entire empire just smoke, mirrors, and good PR?
I can list more fails on both of my hands. Where's American Riviera Orchard? What happened to Spotify?
These high-profile flops haven't just dented Meghan Markle's reputation. They've supercharged the criticism. Commentators say Meghan isn't simply missing the mark. She's built her entire brand on hype without results to back it up. To them, it's all sizzle, no steak, and the cracks are showing louder than ever. Some critics have even gone further, straight up labeling Meghan a grifter.
You sold inventory that you didn't have on asever.com. People are still waiting for their refunds when the reality is she's a grifter.
Those claims only intensified after reports resurfaced about her now defunct lifestyle venture, American Riviera Orchard, and its earlier version, the TIG. Allegedly, they sold products that never existed in the first place, leaving angry customers chasing refunds instead of enjoying their orders. For critics, it wasn't just a business blunder. It looked like a straight-up scheme. Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly both argue these shady patterns tie into a much bigger picture. Meghan's marriage to Harry was never about romance.
Over it. She's not important. She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled. She became a, quote, princess.
Why do we have to be nice for a woman who clearly went over to get herself a prince, to bring him back, to give her access to this lifestyle that she would have never had?
In their view, it was a calculated move. A fast track to global fame, financial security, and a power platform she could monetize for years to come. Love story or strategic business merger dressed up as a fairy tale wedding? The critics think the answer is obvious. Kinsey Schofield also hammered Meghan's endless product pushing, saying it's the complete opposite of the traditional royal image.
Makes her look greedy and shallow. And I think she's showing us exactly who she is and what her ultimate objective was all along.
To her, Meghan isn't about duty or service. She's about profit and branding. From Spotify to Netflix to her own failed brands, the pattern looks the same. Big promises, weak delivery, and a lingering sense that something just isn't right. And it wasn't only Meghan under fire this time. Even podcast host Jamie Kern-Lima caught backlash for the way she handled that now infamous sit-down, with some saying she looked more like Meghan's hype woman than a serious interviewer. For many listeners, especially those already skeptical thanks to Candace Owens, Jamie Kern-Lima didn't do Meghan Markle any favors. She made things worse. Instead of creating space for a real, raw conversation, Lima came across more like Meghan's personal cheerleader. Critics ripped into her tone, describing it as gushing, sugar-coated, and downright over the top. At times, it felt less like journalism and more like a hype session. Every word Meghan spoke was met with wide-eyed amazement and a flood of syrupy compliments.
You in love now more than ever?
Are you in love? How happy and beautiful is your husband?
Instead of pressing for depth or challenging Meghan with tough questions, Lima seemed to nod along, amplifying every emotional beat. Viewers found it cringeworthy and, honestly, suspicious. It didn't feel like an interview. It felt like a PR rollout with a friendly host cast in the role of Meghan's #1 fan.
Meghan, how are you?
How are you?
I know you always make it about me.
People online were quick to notice how neatly Lima's reactions matched Meghan's emotions, almost like the whole exchange had been rehearsed. The timing, the tone, the synchronized wow faces, it all looked painfully staged. What was marketed as a raw, unfiltered talk ended up feeling like a scripted performance dressed up in vulnerability clothing. And that, critics say, is the root of Meghan Markle's problem. Candace Owens keeps hammering the same point.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Meghan just can't seem to be real. Every tear, every shaky voice, every honest confession feels like another polished scene in the never-ending Meghan Markle show. Every tear, every trembling voice, every so-called honest confession from Meghan Markle ends up looking scripted. Another carefully polished scene in what feels like the never-ending Meghan Markle show. And here's the irony. In today's celebrity world, where everyone is busy selling the illusion of a perfect life, what people actually crave is something raw and real. When a star pushes too hard to look authentic and misses the mark, the backlash isn't just harsh, it's vicious. Meghan has become the living proof of that. She's practically a case study in how overselling honesty can backfire. The harder she tries to convince the public she's vulnerable, the more people start to believe she's hiding behind a script. That leaves one massive question hanging in the air. Can Meghan Markle ever escape the image she's built for herself? Or is she now permanently trapped in the role of her own making? And what would it even take for critics, especially someone like Candace Owens, to finally look at Meghan and believe she's being real? Could anything she does turn the tide, or is the damage already done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear exactly what you think about this mess. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.